And welcome to Academy and more. In this session, we are going to take a look at 12 common logical fallacies that happen in daily communication and will present some examples and counters as well so that you'll be able to think clearly, spot errors, and avoid bad arguments while having conversation with your friends, families, and so the first thing is that we'll need to define what a fallacy looks like. So fallacy is basically a systematic error in reasoning. So it's not a mistake, first of all, and it's an error, and that error follows a system. So the person who is making a fallacy doesn't think that he is on the wrong path, rather he thinks that he is making a correct argument. But in fact, in reality, he is deviating from the point of argument. Another characteristic is that it makes something sounds truer or true when in reality it's not, and it makes something feel or appear stronger when in its core, in its reality, it's quite weak. So why we need to spot fallacies in communication? Because it will help us think critically and clearly, and the goal is not to win debates but to avoid being misled and to think more rationally and clearly. So that's why we are going through this presentation. So the first fallacy is strawman fallacy. So in strawman fallacies, someone misinterprets and then misrepresents an opponent's arguments into a weaker, exaggerated, or simplified version. So it means that person A, let's say person A is saying something, is making an argument against or about something, but person B being biased against the argument of person A, he is misrepresenting the argument into a weaker, exaggerated, or simplified version. So this will lead to a fallacy. We'll see an example of this as well. And it makes the opponent like person A look unreasonable when in reality their argument might be valid and well nuanced. So the example, person A is saying that we should regulate social media algorithms. So this is a proper or a well structured argument, but person B rather than replying to that or containing themselves into the uh, argument boundaries, he is saying that so you want to control everything people see online. So as you can, if you look closely at this argument, you'll see that he is deviating from the point of argument. Person A is saying something about social media algorithms, but as person B is looks biased, he is thinking that if we regulate social media algorithm, then person A has something to control on people. So the counter is that the second person is not responding to the real argument but a distorted version. So this is strawman fallacy. Next is ad hominem. So ad hominem literally means to the person. So in this fallacy, somebody makes the characterization of a person, of their opponent. So it attacks the characters, intentions, or traits of the opponent. But in reality, even a flawed person can make a good argument sometimes. So this is what ad hominem is. So we'll see the example that you are too young to understand economics. So next time when somebody says that you are too young to do this, you will feel easy to spot the fallacy called ad hominem in it. Why? Because age doesn't have to do anything with learning something that can poetry, economics, physics, etc. So the counter is Age doesn't logically determine the correctness of one's argument. Next is appeal to authority. So there is an authority figure, and people are looking at him or looking at them, and they are following their path. But fallacy happens when the authority is irrelevant, biased, or unqualified, and that can lead to the famous person category as well. Like you might have heard people that famous person is promoting that product, so we should buy the product because in their mind the famous person is right. So it is called appeal to authority. So sometimes claim is accepted purely because a famous person said so. Example is a celebrity says this product or this supplement works, so it must work. But the counter is expertise must be relevant, evidence based, and verifiable. So you should read the ingredients of the product, not the person who is promoting it. Next is appeal to emotion. So when an argument relies on fear, pity, anger, or any emotion instead of logic, it becomes fallacious. So as the word contains a powerful message, emotion contains a powerful message in it, so it is easy to manipulate somebody's argument against him. And I think I have missed the second point, but example is if you don't buy this product, you are putting your family at risk. So as you can see that somebody is manipulating you into buying the product, and he's using the emotion, the one of the strongest emotion of protecting the family or loving the family, is using it against you to buy this product. But in reality, the counter must be this pushes fear instead of offering evidence of the usefulness of the product. This is what you should look at. But if somebody is playing with your emotions, you it will become easy to spot this fallacy next time. Okay, so second point is emotional appeals can be powerful, but they should support reasoning, not replace it. Next is false dilemma. So in false dilemma, somebody is presenting only two options in front of you when in reality alternatives exist. So in your daily life, in your job, you come across these kind of situations every now and then, when you somebody is saying that either or either slash or, like you have only two options. But if you think clearly, and if you know how to spot a fallacy, you'll be easily able to find alternatives in it. So what it does is that it oversimplifies complex issues, like narrowing them down them to only two options. Example is you are either with us or against us. So it gives the opponent only two options. Like if you do this, you are with us. If you do against this, you are against us. So it means that in reality, there might have some other options as well, but as the fallacy occurs, the person who is in charge won't think of them. The counter is that life is rarely black and white. Logical thinking requires recognizing the gray area in between. So this is quite common. So next is slippery slope. This fallacy claims that one small action will lead to a chain of events ending in something catastrophic. So it means that you are thinking quite rapidly in terms of actions. So that a catastrophe would occur if some small action will happen. And but there is no evidence for the escalation, like how one event can lead to such an catastrophe without any evidence. So the example would be, a nice example would be, if we allow students to use calculators, soon they won't learn basic math and society will collapse. You can see that the society will collapse represents a catastrophe. And what is a small action that people, if you allow people to use calculators? So you can easily spot a slippery slope in this, as the argument fails to create a chain, a link between the action to the catastrophe. So the counter would be, it's dramatic, like it really looks dramatic, but not logically coherent or supported. Then comes circular reasoning. So as the name suggests, it occurs when the conclusion of an argument is used as one of its premises. So it means that some the claim proves itself. It means that let's say if somebody says that I am your superior, and he is using the argument as the claim, as the one of the its premise, it means that you'll never come out of that circle. We see the example. This book is true because it says it is true. So as the book is saying that it's true, you can never come out of this circular reasoning. So it's a fallacy. Counter would be, there is no independent evidence. The argument goes in circles. Like, how does this book is true? Uh, uh, as you can never find any proof or claim apart from this book, so you can never come out of this circle. Next is hasty generalization. So it happens when someone draws a conclusion based on too small a sample. So hasty generalization happens for a small sample case. One or two examples don't justify applying the conclusion to all cases. Example would be, I met two rude people from city X, so everyone there must be true. So let's say if the population of that city is 2 million and you have collected a sample of two two people, so you can spot a fallacy in it. Like, you cannot generalize this thing to the whole population. Counter is, generalizations need meaningful evidence and a large sample. Post hoc. So it is basically a false cause fallacy. So it assumes that if, because event A happened before event B, A must have caused B. So it is actually mixing correlation and causation, as both are not equal. So two things can correlate to each other, but that doesn't proves the chain of causation in them. Example would be, I wore my lucky shirt and then I passed the exam. The shirt caused it. So you can spot a fallacy called post hoc in it. Counter is, timing alone doesn't prove cause. Next is bandwagon fallacy. So it's a common fallacy. Like, you will recognize after this watching this video, you'll be able to recognize this quite easily, as people assume something is true or correct simply because many other believe it. So, but in fact, popularity is not an evidence of believing something. Example is, everyone on social media says this diet works, so it must work, so it must be true. So uh, so basically it means that if let's say tens of thousands of people are are let's say using some product and they are saying that they work for them, it doesn't have to work for you also. Crowds can be wrong and sometimes spectacularly. And then is red herring. So it diverts attention from the main issue by introducing irrelevant information. It is a distraction tactic, intentional or unconscious. When asked about rising costs, a politician replies, we should focus on national unity. So this is an example of this red herring. Uh, as you can see that the question being asked and the reply doesn't doesn't support each other or justify each other. And the counter is it avoids addressing the actual concern. Then comes appeal to tradition. So sometimes people think that something is correct simply because it has always been done that way. It is appealing to tradition, but tradition doesn't guarantee truth or effectiveness. Example is we have always taught this method, so it must be the best way. When in reality, there might be some alternatives as well that can yield some better results as to what you are getting by using the tradition. Counter is past practices are not automatically superior. So thank you so much for your time. I'll see you in the next session.